Hey, we're here. Gosh, it's about time. That was almost 20 seconds, YouTube, just to get to the live. Let me bring it up on my desktop, as I always do. Bring up my live chat. You guys, if you're coming in on the replay, just give me a moment to set up my goal. Put my links in my screen. I've just learned how to do that. Yeah, I'm still learning, people. Hey, Jane. Hey, Jewel. Let me just set up my screen here. Hope you guys are having a good day. Got to add the thing about the high points into the description here of the goal. It's funny, on my desktop it plays through the commercials, which is cool because I don't see those on the mobile devices. And that gives me a few more clicks. So let me add a pinned comment. Yeah, I type with 2 fingers, so it takes a little while. Hey, read it close. Now, see if I can put this link in that I don't know. No, it says I have too many characters. That's not right. That didn't work. Just give me a moment. It printed about 1,000 texts. Okay, let me try that again. Hey, Mary Fish, welcome in. Let me just go back to the main channel page. I don't know why this is taking so long to set this up. I wanted to put a link in. Someone yesterday said you should put your link in, and it just didn't work. Let's see. Let's see if this works. I'll try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, I'll just forget about putting the link in. Let's see if that works. No, it really didn't work. Uh, let's see. Nope, the link didn't work. Well, nope, that's not working. And here we go again. How do we delete this comment? Okay, let me try it one more time. If you're watching on the replay, you might want to go through the past 4 minutes. Yeah, that's not linking through YouTube, so I got to figure out how to do that. And then let me pin that. There we go. I'm just gonna miss out, I guess. Hi, Mike. How you doing? Hey, Mary Fish. Let's see. We got it set to live chat. Maybe I need to set that on my phone, live chat, so I don't miss any comments that are in front of me. Hey, Kai Kenny. Okay. Let me at least introduce myself before I have to start deleting people. Okay, I'm April Davis PI. We've got 25 people in here. It is May the 26th, 2026. And as most of you know, I am a licensed private investigator in Southern California. And we are talking about the Nancy Guthrie case. Again, Day number 115. Yes, I can't believe I'm saying it. It's day number 115. I had to do the math on the calculator. Uh, okay, I'm missing something. Hey, Kathy Mowry, welcome in. I hope you had a good Memorial Day, all of you. Yeah, this is a very sad case, as Mary Fish has pointed out. I did a video yesterday about Jennifer Coffendorfer, an interview that she did or that she gave to the press about the four possibilities, the four theories of what happened. And someone made a comment. I don't remember the exact words, but it was something about how they didn't care for her, or she's not credible, or I should have looked it up before I came on the air, but I just didn't have time. And, I'm not a big proponent of her either. I don't dislike her. But she kind of leans towards Nanos. Seems like she favors Nanos a lot and what he's done. And I think she believes that the family is possibly clear, and I know she has to be careful, like I have to be careful about the words that she chooses online. But yeah, I'm not a fan. Mary says, me too, not a fan. And I've been watching a little bit of TMZ occasionally. And they have this new producer on there. Well, he's not really new. I think he's been around since last year. His name is Jackson. And hey, Sarah! Oh my gosh. And ladies and gentlemen, I did get that PayPal from Saraf last night. Hi, April. Did YouTube fix the goal count? Uh, Apparently not. It still says 0. I heard that last night. I was watching someone else's YouTube, and they were like, "Yeah, the goal's not working." Uh, but I didn't have a problem yesterday. Yeah, it says 0 of 10. Yeah, I guess that's a known YouTube issue, people. Yeah, I saw that on another video, but I had no problems yesterday. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I guess it still works. People can still send the super chats. It's just the little gold counter's not working for some reason. Anyway, this guy Jackson, I can't even understand what this guy is saying. And I live in a city where we are represented by over 140 countries. And Los Angeles, believe it or not, is the largest UK population in the world outside of the UK. So I'm very used to UK uh, accents. I can't even count the number of people I know here that are British. There's a lot. Like at least a half a million people in this city are British. But I can't for the life of me understand his last name. I know he's a producer. He handles their YouTube. I don't know what this guy is saying. And it's hard for me to watch him. I am happy you got the PayPal. Hope it helps. I'll be out for a while. No problem, Saraf. You've done more than enough. In fact, let me catch up on the chat on the computer so I can heart those super chats. Everybody, send Saraf a thumbs up on both of his super chats. And thanks for bringing that to my attention that YouTube is having an issue with the super chat goal. I totally forgot about that since it had not affected me, but now it does. Okay, I did listen to his interview. He interviewed Jennifer Coffendorfer. There's that name again. We just talked about her yesterday. And she's, to me, sounds like she's in Nanos's corner. I don't know if she is. I'm not going to put words or into, I'm not going to put her beliefs into my YouTube channel because I don't know what she's thinking, but it just seems to me that she sways away from the family. Because remember, Nanos has publicly stated multiple times that he has cleared the family. And, the FBI, they've never come forward and said anything about this case. So I don't know if the family is clear or they're not clear. And I know a lot of you that are watching now have not been watching my series from the beginning, so you may not have been a subscriber or a viewer of my channel earlier on in this case when I mentioned something that was very personal and private to me and my family, and I have to be very careful of what I say here, but decades before I was born, there was a actual kidnapping for ransom in my own family. Like I said, decades before I was born. However, at that time that it happened and nobody died, but it was a very, very serious thing that the family does not like to discuss at all. The only reason I bring it up now is because all the people that were involved in that era have since passed over the years, over the decades, because, I'm old as dirt, and this was probably, I don't know, 15 or 20 years before I was born. And at that time, the FBI told, you know, my family, well, I should say my future family, since I wasn't here yet, that there was okay, the neighbor's been vacuuming since 10 o'clock this morning. His apartment is as big as a closet. I hope you guys can't hear that. It's making me crazy. I wonder how many people are coming over from the Middle East to move in with that much vacuuming. Just saying. Okay. This FBI back then, this was like probably early or mid 40s at the latest, told my future family that this was family that did this kidnapping. And they were 100% sure. And, my future relatives, since I hadn't been born yet, said, no way, we don't come from that kind of family. This is not family. And then all the leads died. Eventually, they did recover the car that was involved. And I've heard two different stories. I've heard it was recovered at Chicago O'Hare Airport. I've heard that it was recovered at the airport in St. Louis. I don't know. This was years before, decades before I was born. They recovered the car. They didn't have DNA testing back in the day. I don't know if they even were able to lift fingerprints. They probably didn't even have CODIS back in the day. Nobody ever went down for it. Many more decades passed, and sometime in the 1960s, I know it was before I was, a living person, there was a death in the family and some clues from that case back in the 40s popped up. And if you put 2 plus 2 equals 4, it pointed towards that the FBI was 100% correct, that it was someone in the family. And the person who was the victim was notified and decided that they did not want to pursue it any further. It was in the past. I don't think the police and the FBI were ever updated on that most recent information that came out. And so when Savannah says, my family's not involved, and she's adamant they're not involved, and she gets very upset to anybody who points the finger at her family, even if they're not involved. I mean, they could be, they could not be, but you look at the two factors, the Savannah factor, or it's somebody close to her, and somebody close to her could be someone within the family. you know I want Savannah to keep an open mind, even though I know she would be very upset if she was seeing this right now, that it still could be a relative. And I'm not saying Annie and Tommaso, I'm just saying somebody close to her, a relative, a friend, a neighbor, someone she knows through the church, a caregiver, a housekeeper, a landscaper, a pool man, a delivery driver, an Uber driver, you know, uh, a contractor that's done work on her home, or someone who came in to fix, uh, you know, a dishwasher, an air conditioner, a serviceman. It could be someone close to her, and it could be family. And Savannah, don't just completely close off your mind to that. Now, obviously, I'm sure the Guthrie family knows more about this than I know, or anybody in this chat knows. Um, but I don't think the FBI is just going to reveal their hand to the family either. Um, Everything that came out in those interviews with Savannah was very scripted. It was recorded. It wasn't done live in case mistakes were made. They obviously know things that they didn't want to accidentally leak out during those interviews. But just everybody keep an open mind that all of the original theories on this case are still on the table. No matter what I say, you say, no matter what Jennifer Coffendorfer says, TMZ, JLR, Clutch Them Pearls, all these I can't even name all these YouTubers, these boots on the ground, which by the way, I thank them for being boots on the ground because I cannot be boots on the ground. All I can do is come on here and talk till I'm blue in the face and say, let's pray for Nancy Guthrie. Turga, hello. This is our friend from Turkey. Corinne Muller, I haven't seen you before. Welcome in. Uh, let's see. I got to take this out. I have been thrown off the rails so many times in the beginning of this speech. Um, P6, welcome in. Grandson and I are watching tonight. Made us some pizza rolls. Now that sounds good because I don't eat much before I come on the air. um, okay. Taking more users out. Jeez. Oh my God. Who are these people? Get a life. Maryfish says 1,000% I agree. Agree with what? Because at this point, I don't even know what I was talking about, Mary. Hey, Don. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I was trying to watch this Jackson interview. If anybody knows his last name or can pronounce his last name, let me know in the chat. Uh, Even looking it up online on Google, I still can't pronounce the name. I can't understand. Um, okay. Oh my God. Here we go again. I guess it means I'm having more success on YouTube. I know my views are up. Aristocrat, good afternoon to you. Everything you said about family, somebody close to the family, you can't rule anybody out. Exactly. Exactly. And, I am a PI. I'm not working this case. I'm not good at anything else in my life, but I was born with spidey senses. I was a very successful PI. Um, I've interviewed thousands of people. I've solved thousands of cases. I've probably done somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 cases in my career. I don't even know. I can't even tell you how many homicides or death cases or kidnapping cases I could probably count on one hand. Uh, I don't like the body language of Annie and Tommaso. I'm not saying that they're involved in this at all. I'm not saying that. But I don't like the body language. I would be in front of the camera begging for help to find my mother. I wouldn't be hiding. Now, maybe they're having some security issues right now. I would assume they could be. I mean, I haven't heard that, but they've just disappeared. Apparently, according to Coffendorfer, Tommaso's name is not listed with the school that he supposedly works for. I keep glitching. Hi, Quentin. Spidey TMZ senses. Yeah. Let's see. Um, Welcome in, Quentin. How you doing? Uh, you might want to, if you're having like a connection issue, you might want to go out and come back in. It could be a YouTube issue, especially since the super chat goal button doesn't work. They're having issues. Uh, no, Quentin is cool, Kathy. No problems with Quentin. Uh, yeah, I don't like their behavior. I am not accusing them, but they are not participating in the search for Nancy. Not that we know of, aristocrat. Mary, yes, they're not seeing and nowhere Annie Tomaso. If that was my mom, I would be out all the time asking for help or anything at all. I wouldn't be in hiding, no way. Yeah, Quentin is cool, Kathy. He's a big supporter of our channel. Uh, Now these other yahoos that are like going off the rails, I have to take those out. Uh, Now this interview, which I couldn't get all the way through because I love Jackson. I wish I could have him working for my YouTube channel. Then I could actually be a success. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing, this kid. He's not just an interviewer. He's not just the talent. He's a producer behind the scenes for TMZ, and he's helped grow their YouTube channel by the millions. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Uh, you know, they've had over 1,000 comments, but they have 5.12 million subscribers. I have 3,000. you know, uh, some people, I mean, this is a professional news agency, whether you like them or not. I'm always been cool with TMZ, but some people hate them. I don't hate them at all. Um, I'm just going to look at some of the comments. I'm not going to read 1,000 of them, obviously, but I just want to go through some of this after they interviewed Jennifer Coffendorfer. Nobody is cleared until the case is solved, is what the FBI has said several times throughout this whole bizarre thing. Absolutely. Someone says the same thing. The next person, no one is cleared till this is over and she is found. I don't blame people for not listening to Sheriff Nanos that the family is cleared. There's a lot of people. I heard last night on another YouTube channel or on the news or something. I'm trying to remember where I even heard it now that over 80% of the population, I can't see all the comments that are long because of this tripod. I love it because it's not going to fall over like the other one, but there's not enough room on my desk. So I guess I'm going to have to skip the long comments that go all the way across the screen. They have only been cleared by the sheriff, not by a prosecutor or the FBI. Good point. The FBI did not clear them. Over 80% of the people in the population think that they're involved. I mean, that's a high number. FBI has not cleared them. We don't believe anything Nano says. God, I really want to see the comments, but there's no way for me to make this tripod shorter. Let me move some stuff on my desk. I want you guys to be able to see me, but then I want to be able to see the comments behind me. Okay. Joe John, you're just gonna join a lot of the people that are in the timeout today. The timeout room is getting full. Thank you, Quentin. Did Rochelle come in and I missed her because I'm dealing with all these yahoos? I don't even see Rochelle. There you are. Welcome in. Okay, now I can see the screen. I've had to turn everything. I can't see the chat on the computer, but let me see these comments for a moment. Then I'll move the camera again. Jen says that Annie and Tommaso were the last to see Nancy before she was reported missing and therefore need to be looked at. Well, of course, it's always routine to look at the last person who saw the victim as well as looking at close family members and working outward from them. Yeah, you cast the net further. Emerald, Jennifer lost all credibility to me as an FBI agent when she said that certain people have been cleared when that is not the case. Absolutely. I'm not a big fan or proponent of hers. I don't dislike her, but I'm not a big fan. She's more of a YouTuber. She is a former FBI agent who, I don't know. I'm not a big proponent. It's fixed, April. I can see you perfectly and hear you without buffering. Okay. Thanks for letting me know, Dawn. And yeah, if you guys are looking at the super chat goal, apparently that hasn't been working with YouTube since last night. People are still able to give super chats or jewels, but the counter at the bottom of the screen, it might be on the top of your screen, is apparently not working. Could be anyone who knew she lived alone. Yep. Now I have to go around the camera to scroll. I think the FBI knows who it is. The FBI just needs more time to build their case. That's very possible. Boy, there's a lot of people that apparently are not fans of hers. I guess I'm not the only one in the group. Sorry, Coffendorfer, but If it was my mom, I don't care what people thought about me. I would be on every media and news site and station pleading for the public's help, not hiding. You know, every time we try to cast this net further out and I don't see anything sticking out, I pull the net back closer in. Uh, Jen won't ever truly consider that the family is involved. It's a waste of time. Again, nobody is cleared legally until we have solved it. Fine, Nancy, period. Exactly. Independent reporters Brian Anton and Monks are much more informative and far easier to listen to. I think they mean because of Jackson's like incredibly strong British accent. And I'm good with accents, but I hear every other word he says. Maybe I should get my hearing checked. Rochelle, I was there in the A&T camp until I learned more about the case. I am not there anymore. I really think it is a group of people and we don't know the mastermind yet. Possible. I'm not here to, accuse anybody. Everybody here on my channel is innocent until proven guilty. Now let me have a swig of my diet ginger beer. Yes, this is ginger ale, not alcohol. Dawn. Exactly. If that was my mom, I wouldn't be hiding. I'd be very vocal and be out looking. Me too. Um, Rochelle, I agree. Thank you, Kathy. She's sort of my unofficial mod here. uh, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Rochelle, I heard Dolly's going to Mexico to try to get leads. Wishing him all the best. Is that another YouTuber? Because I've heard that name before, but I don't watch him. The family has wanted to move on since early on. They didn't even pay for the billboards. Oh, that's interesting. But I have heard that Savannah wanted to put up that $1 million right away, and the FBI said no. I probably would have done it anyway. This young man is doing a great job covering the case. Happy to see TMZ giving him the opportunity to shine. Well, considering behind the scenes he's a major producer, yeah, I don't think they have a choice. Things that make you say, that's an interesting one. I've initially thought it was her sister and brother-in-law and still do. They are looking for the proceeds from the house and the estate. Remember, he's a school teacher. They bought a very expensive house in March, and supposedly, rumor has it, we can't confirm this, that he has not worked the entire 25-26 school year even before this happened. Also, just before they bought that house, apparently Nancy's house was briefly on the market in 2024 and taken down. Now, that hasn't been confirmed either, but people say that it was, that they've seen the listings. Jewel says, if it was my mom, I'm not sure I could get out of bed. Rochelle, I don't think Luke could be the mastermind, but Aaron is spooky. Yeah, I don't know much about this Aaron because isn't he the person that did an interview with another YouTuber and then like a few hours later the whole thing was taken down? Wasn't Dolly the guy that got a lot of backlash on this case? I don't know. I don't watch Dolly. Yes, Dolly is a YouTuber cowboy type. The only Dolly I know of is a woman, and she is the spirit box reader in Australia. I think it is a very sly criminal, maybe like the wrench criminals who cut off fingers or they get you to transfer them e-money, especially elderly and rich. Yeah, but do wrench criminals spend 41 minutes at least in a house? No, you can't hear the vacuum. Yeah, it did turn off, but it's been going on since 10. Well, maybe before that, because I was still asleep when I heard it, and I was just like, "Oh my God, can I just get a few more minutes of sleep?" And then the cat was screaming, and she wants in the covers, out of the covers. Now I don't want it in the covers anymore, but I'm going to scream just because I scream in the morning. And then the vacuum, and it's just like, oh my God. I mean, the place is what, 600 square feet? How long does it take to vacuum? I just feel so bad that the sheriff put politics and internal bias over solving the crime. This is the YouTube comments on the TMZ video. His ego doomed the investigation from the start. Well, something doomed it from the start, and I don't know why he did what he did. Whether they were involved or not, they acted guilty. Yeah, that's so true. I love this statement. Whether they were involved or not, they acted guilty. Yes. Quentin Broom says, I don't think Luke or Aaron are involved. Um, yes, on the interview room, he called in. Yeah, see, I don't watch that. And then I heard about it, but they said it was already taken down. Um, yeah, like, let's see, what have I missed? Oh, hey, Jay, I didn't see you come in. I'm so distracted with trying to see around this. I love this. This is a combination selfie stick tripod, and it goes into a short tripod, but it does block my screen. Um, let's see. And because of my back, I haven't been sitting on the sofa, sitting on the broken spring lately because that hurts my butt. I know TMI. Uh, they were covering their faces and hiding in cars before anyone mentioned they were suspects. That's just so weird. That's the opposite of how someone should react. And then when they went into all this alleged, witchcraft activity, and that may not even be true, but if it is, like, that's just, that's scary to me. The feds also came to the house to do what appeared to be luminol testing in the middle of the night. So anyone acting like they don't know why people started becoming suspicious of Annie Tommaso is not being genuine. Here, here. You rule the family out within a day or two. You don't spend, 6 weeks treating their house as a crime scene, whereas the crime scene over at Nancy's house is released in 20 hours, and then people are trampling it. But yet they spend, what, 5 or 6 weeks at Annie and Tommaso's. I mean, they couldn't even live there while part of this was going on. Hey, 53 people in the house. Thank you, everybody. Can I have some thumbs up here? And as our friend Saraf came in, and he did say that the super chat goal button is broken on YouTube. I noticed it last night while I was watching other YouTube channels in the middle of the night. So just disregard. In fact, let me just turn off that goal entirely. I'm just going to turn it off. I still see it on my screen. Hey, Brian, welcome in. And thank you, Brian, for watching the replays. Quentin, I think they will have to find a silver lining clue to find them. All of the basic methods were bypass detection. Okay. I don't know what's going to happen, Quentin. Some days I'm very confident that they're almost there, and then other days I'm not. Woohoo, luminol is their best friend. Oh no, about super chat. Yeah, you can still give them, but the goal button doesn't. The counters are not working throughout YouTube. It's not just on my end, and I don't know if it's just on verticals or if it's on all channels, on all types of horizontal and vertical. But the buttons are not working. I mean the chat button is working, but the goal button is not. It's not counting the chats. Connie, rocks and dug up a bunch of cacti and put it all on the easement where the streamers sit. They did this last night? Who dug up rocks and cactus? I know the HOA doesn't want the streamers there, but as long as they're not bothering anybody, they should be fine to be there. Oh, hello, Leanne. Hey, Maggie, welcome in. I got the messages this morning, Maggie, on the email regarding Amazon. We'll talk about it. I didn't go to the mailbox today because I got the notices that more is coming. And, the mailbox closes during the holiday weekend. They probably were closed Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and couldn't get their deliveries. And I just, since more is coming, I've just decided to wait another day or two to go over there and clean out the box. Moving on up. Greetings. How's your day? Good, except for the neighbor's vacuum going for the last 5-6 hours. Thank you, Don. Please hit the like and thumbs up. Show your support. What brand is your ginger beer? Bundenberg from Australia. And it's the diet version. It's the Australian version of ginger ale. The best. Uh, no one knows. It's right outside of Nancy's house. You mean someone dug up? You mean across the street where the YouTubers hang out? Someone dug up rocks and cacti? That's odd. There's been a lot of weird stuff that's happened there in the middle of the night, and then they come the next morning and stuff has happened. Oh, Rochelle, I fixed that. Uh, she says, I tried to send some ginger beer, but because it was used on your list already, if I try to order it, it tries to send it to me. I fixed that. I had to adjust the quantity after I woke up this morning because somebody here, not going to name names unless they want me to name them, someone has sent me 2 4-packs of ginger beer. Obviously I don't have it yet. It just, happened at 5:53 this morning, but it brought the quantity down to 0. And so I added a couple more onto it, Rochelle, just because. But there's plenty of other things on the list. So yeah, and this is my last one. Hopefully it comes tomorrow. I'll have to remember to bring my pickup fee cash over to the mailbox. Yes, it's a mess. Oh, I haven't seen it, Joyce. Welcome in. Don McWhorter, a few YouTubers were parked at the sheriff's office. Quentin Broom! Where's the hype button? Thank you, April. Let me get back to my right screen since I blocked it out to read these comments. Let me go back. I got to lean this way so I can heart that, and then I'll go back to the TMZ chat. Everybody give Quentin a thumbs up. Um, okay, this is interesting comment regarding the TMZ interview with Jennifer Coffendorfer. It's not really a conspiracy theory when you consider the fact that statistically speaking, the perp is often known by the victim and the last person to see the victim. This theory may be taboo, but not unfounded or conspiratory. Yeah, I agree with that because they were talking about conspiracy theories. It's not a conspiracy theory. 75 to 92% of murders and kidnappings happen by people that you know, including immediate family members. Remember, God, my relatives would be rolling in their graves right now. I talked about this at the beginning of this chat and in many other chats that there was a kidnapping in my family decades before I was born. The FBI was involved. It was kidnapping for ransom. Nobody died. It was very serious. It was a lifelong of trauma for that person and generations to come. Heck, even when I was a child, my parents were terrified that I would be kidnapped. Um, you never get over something like that. And then decades later, another family member dies and they find a clue in that family member's home that connects to that kidnapping from the 40s. And they were like, oh my God. And as far as I know, the police and the FBI were never contacted about the current information that was, well, not current today, but current for the 1960s. Yeah, a lot of times it is somebody close to you. John Benet Ramsey case. I know a lot of people think that that was an intentional unaliving. Watch the movie Fargo. There are kidnappings for hire that are someone closely connected to the family that go wrong and people end up unalived. And in the Ramsey's case, I 100% believe that it was somebody that the mother brought into the home who was the ringleader. Not the person that did the taking and the killing, but the ringleader was someone that the mother brought into their home. Okay? And turns out that's exactly what happened with Elizabeth Smart. The person that did it was someone that the mother brought into their home. These cases whether it's children, adults, babies, it's someone closely connected to the family many, many times. Now, in this case, the odds can sway away from them because she is the mother of a celebrity. And that's what I call the Savannah factor, the celebrity factor, the Hollywood factor, even though I know Savannah's in New York, but there's that Hollywood entertainment biz factor. Okay. Someone could have targeted her to commit revenge against Savannah or to get money out of Savannah. But I'll tell you, this is not a burglary. It's not a robbery. It's not a home invasion robbery. It's not like some people have said, oh, it was someone going to rob the jewel guy or the gem guy next door and they had the wrong house. Nope. That's not what happened at all. She was specifically watched. She was specifically targeted, but nobody, kidnappers, would not stay in a house for a minimum of 41 minutes. And if you do have a rich old lady living in the Catalina foothills who has a famous daughter, you would have to think that the house is more secure, security wise, alarm system wise, than it was. And that would not be the house to target. If you were going to target someone in the neighborhood, that would not be the house to target because that would probably be the house on the block that has the most security. And it's pitch black. You would not know where the cameras were. You might have walked up to the front door in the past and knew about the doorbell cam, the Nest, but you would not know about the cameras on the side of the house, in the back of the house, on the inside of the house. You wouldn't know if there was an alarm system, if there was an infrared inner, outer, middle perimeter system, a panic button, a safe room. You wouldn't know any of that. But whoever did this seemed to have intimate knowledge. And I told the retired FBI agent that. And he said, well, sometimes people get lucky. He was more thinking the single lone wolf theory, and sometimes people get lucky. Why would you stay in a house that long and not, if you're doing this for money, why not take some cash out of her wallet or take her credit cards or take some jewelry or, stuff a few things inside that bag? But no, the bag was already full. The backpack was full before they even went into the house. What's that about? Um, let's see. Don McWhorter says, Quentin, thank you for your support. Yes, thank you, Quentin. I honestly think people are watching too much AI. Yeah, and people believe that stuff. That's why it's so dangerous. Um, some can't decipher real and fake. Yeah. I mean, people here coming into my chat don't understand that when they're blowing up my comments after the fact that I'm not live anymore. If people can't figure that out, how are they going to be able to get around what's real and what's fake? Um, Kathy Mowry, Dawn, I saw a photo today. Savannah had been beat up on the right side of the picture. Tomasa was on the other side with a creepy grin on the other. I didn't even open the video. It screamed AI. Yeah, that's terrible. Oh wow, Jay. My mom was paranoid about something happening to me. I was a John Bonet lookalike when I was little. Wow. You must have been a gorgeous child because John Bonet was she was such a pretty little girl. That case still haunts me. Oh, and I wish I could talk more about that case, but I can't. Don McWhorter, Kathy, usually at the bottom of those videos it says AI generated. AI has just gotten ridiculous. You know what? I hope YouTube drops the hammer on this AI stuff. Um, Now, if AI wants to help with the thumbnails, great. I'm using AI for the thumbnails now to help me. They want to help with the titles, great. But the video it's supposed to be original content. KMG, 41 minutes is too long. They would want to do a quick in and out, and or the house would be trashed if random burglary. Exactly. They would be going through things and leaving a mess. Yeah. Oh, I gotta move this again. I can't see my chat behind me because I'm reading these TMZ comments. So sorry, I've had to bump the camera a few times during this. It's still not level. It maybe because I have too much garbage on my desk. Got lots of bills that I'm like, it's already the end of the month, and until the next deposit comes on June 3rd, nothing's getting paid. Uh, do you think the backpack contained a laptop for exchanging money or fingers? Money or fingers? Do I dare ask what does that mean? Fingers? Hey, John. John Feld Bush. Welcome in. April, I think you are so right. Perp knew what to expect before going in. Yes. And the FBI agent that I consulted with, who's not working on this case, he's retired. He's in California. He's one of my PI comrades. He only followed it for a month, and he said he didn't even know who Nancy's family was. Like, I didn't even know if he knew who Savannah was. Kaz, I have never seen you before, Kaz. Kaz, Kaz Yaminer, where are you from, Kaz? Let me switch screens here so I can heart that. That's amazing when I get a super chat from somebody I've never even seen before on my channel. Pleased to meet you too. I hope you're subscribed, Kaz. Where are you coming in from? You don't have to say if you want to keep that private, but we're all like friends here. Well, except for the trolls. Los Angeles. That's where I'm at. When I put the location on these, I've been putting Tucson because we're talking about a case in Tucson, but I'm actually a Los Angeles, California PI. Wow. I don't get too many people from Los Angeles coming in. Oh, okay, Dawn. She says they are talking about those robbers that cut off fingers. Oh, you mean the wrench attacks people? I'm just learning more about that. Those wrench attacks. Wow, LA. That's so cool. Please subscribe. Please. I've got people from all over the world. It's so funny. Even like remote places like Iceland, the Middle East, Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, Canada, Mexico. We got people from all over the place. But I don't think I've ever had anybody that's come into my chat and said they're in Los Angeles. Welcome in, Kaz. Thank you, Kathy. Will they ever find this woman? Deborah, that's a very good question. God, I hope so. But remember, the FBI agent that I consulted with, uh, he thinks they're going to solve the crime. And I want to be positive that they will, but he thinks there's less of a chance that they're going to find Nancy. And he said, many M's or unalivings do get prosecuted without a body. And that just kind of brought tears to my eyes. Like, first, I mean, they need to find out who did this, but the whole purpose of us and me coming on the air is I want to find Nancy, Thank you. I like the mood in here. It's very positive. I try, Kaz. I have my moments. And I've had a few moments the last couple of days where, you know, I 2 or 3 days ago I just had to end the video because I was just like, okay, I'm done. Um, and it had nothing to do with Nancy. It was just, Memorial Day and emotions running high. So, but if I wasn't positive, I wouldn't have survived everything I've survived. Um, Don McWhorter, welcome to the chat. That's directed at you, Cass. Cass Yamaner. That's just so cool. You're somebody from Los Angeles. Uh, could she be hidden somewhere in the house? I don't think so, Deborah. I mean, I've never been in that house, but I highly doubt it. Um, I agree, Dawn. We need justice for Nancy. Yeah, hashtag justice for Nancy. Savannah really needs it. Uh, yeah. I'm not trying to point the finger at Annie and Tommaso. I'm not. But I was very interested in this Jackson. If anybody can tell me how to pronounce his name, his last name, let me know. Are all the DNA results in? No, John, they're not. Because the rootless hair sat in Florida for 12 weeks for nada. It should have been gone straight to the FBI, and then the FBI could have sent it to their labs, including the one in San Francisco. But, that didn't happen, and, this could put us another 12 weeks out. Sorry to say that. Um, Hello, Kaz. We were all about the feel good, positive vibes here with April. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you for your support. Yeah, I would think so, KMG. I won't read that out, but yeah. But they were checking the septic tank. Roger forever. That is Jay's significant other. Let me go back to the other screen and give you a heart. Everybody give Roger forever 777 a thumbs up. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, welcome in. If you haven't seen the beginning of this, Kaz, you might want to go back on the replay. And for those watching on the replay, I know we talked about this yesterday and the day before. It takes YouTube 24 to 48 hours to replay the chat. You could go watch this video right after I end it, but you won't see the chat or even the super thanks button until YouTube processes the live. It's not like that on a regular video. Like once it's posted, it's posted. Like, long form video under the video tab. But these lives, they have to reprocess them. And if you try to send the super thanks or you try to see the chat, and people get so upset with me, like, I can't see the chat. And then there's those that are watching me live right now, and they're probably blowing up my comments, not realizing that they're in the comment section and that they haven't swiped left. So, yeah, I never thought that all of this kind of stuff would arise. I mean, I knew the trolls would come in some of the times, but I got someone who's, giving me 10 or 20 comments, like, hey, how you doing? And hey, everybody, and, shouting people out. And it's like, it's 2 a.m. We're not live right now. And why are you skipping me? And you're not calling me out. And, like, if you're not here and I can't see you, I can't acknowledge you. KMG says, oh man, the septic tank. I guess it's good they were checking it. I'd like to know what they were checking the septic tank for. And I also heard there might be a cistern there. Hey, V Miss. Dean says, good afternoon, Miss April. I can't stay long. I catch up with you later. Thank you, Dean. That actually does help me a lot. Also sending an email with vehicle hopeful for answers. Oh, good. I'll look forward to that, Dean. Thanks again for your great conversations. Much love to all. Much love to Dean. Uh, let's see. Thank you, Deborah. Lovely chatting with you. Let me get back to this TMZ interview. Like I said, I'm not a big fan, I guess is the best way of putting it, of Jennifer Coffindoffer. It seems she's pro nanos and pro, that the family isn't involved, but nobody is clear until this case is done. If anyone wants to have a membership, there are 3 tiers. Starting at $4.99 a month. Oh, I didn't even know that, Kathy. And you know what? I think you taught me. Was it you? If you are a member and you go to the bottom of the screen, let me get the screen back up on the desktop. If you go to the bottom of the screen where there's that dollar symbol, there is not only membership gifting and membership, but if you are a member and you click that button, I guess you can send a highlighted comment in the chat, and you'll be in a big green box, and it'll say that you're a member and how many months. I think you can utilize that once a month. And I think it was Kathy, because she's been a member from the beginning. Thank you, Kathy. That makes so much difference. Um, you know, the other day I had close to 5,000 views. I think it was 4 grand, but close to five, not all at the same time. Like right now, we've got 59 people. I think we had 60 some earlier. Not everybody comes in at the same time. But I thought, wow, if every one of those 4 or 5,000 people just sent the minimum $1, like that could pay for almost the first. I mean, they would take half of it, obviously, but it could pay for the first 3 years worth of expenses on this channel. You don't have to send anything, just watching the replays, getting in the chat, getting the comments, hitting the like button, hitting the double hearts, or the double taps or whatever for the hearts and the smiley faces. But nobody has to send me anything. But if you'd like, this is a self finance channel. There are links on the main channel page, and apparently the super chat goal button doesn't work today. And that's weird. I turned it off and now it's giving me a timer. I already turned it off. It's still giving me a time. You are going on 3 months. Oh wow. Holy smokes. Yeah, I know you were one of the first, Kathy. I haven't seen it yet, B Miss. She says, so I guess you guys saw the destruction across from Nancy's. Pretty bad. It's illegal to cut up. I need to see that. I haven't seen that yet. Someone in this chat came in and said, cactus destroying is illegal. Yes. So I don't know who or why, but someone did that late last night. Terrible. And they should have security out there. It's still a crime scene. But no, it's not, because within the first 20 hours, it wasn't a crime scene. But for the next 6 weeks, they were 10 minutes away at Annie and Tomaso's. Just saying. It is saying your goal is almost up. Yeah, but it's not counting. The counter doesn't work on YouTube since last night, apparently. Even our best friend of the channel, Saraf, came in very early and he sent 2 and said, I just want to see if the goal is working, if the counter's working, and it wasn't. It was working yesterday for me. Is the membership set by YouTube? No, you just go in and you become a member if you'd like. And I think, Dawn, did you say that the first level was $4.99? And it's monthly. Uh, okay, yeah, my little star will change colors again on the 3rd. Oh, okay. Yeah, it does change colors every month, doesn't it? Oh, Christy Heary, welcome in. They piled up rocks so YouTubers can't sit there. You know what it sounds like then? It was attacked by someone in the neighborhood who doesn't want them there anymore. And, if they're not causing a problem and they're not doing damage or leaving trash behind, that's very important. Don't leave your trash behind, especially with all those food deliveries. They should be carrying a big plastic garbage bag with them, because I know they can't park anywhere near there, which is sad that they have to walk through that heat. Uh, yeah, that's sad. I mean, they did it so the streamers wouldn't sit there. They also put big rocks. It's crazy. That is crazy. And you know what? That's criminal. They need to find out who did that, and that person needs to be arrested. And remember, there's a lot more security on Nancy's property than there was when Nancy was there. Did Nanos do it? Good question, Roselle. I doubt it, but yeah. Penny. Yeah, we don't talk about other YouTube channels like in the chat, Penny, just so you know. I'm like in the middle of my life, so I'm just going to delete that comment. Not gonna take you out, I'm just gonna delete the comment. Well, how do I do that? There we go. I just gotta hide that comment. Well, you're still in here, Penny. I gotta take that comment out. I mean, I'm supportive of these other YouTubers, but I'm in the middle of my show. It's like being on a Whatnot show and coming into somebody's room saying, "Hey, come over to my room and buy my stuff instead." Like, no, that's not acceptable. VMIS, yes, and pulled up cactus. They even got someone to pick them up to use the restroom. Who got picked up to use the restroom? Oh, you mean, oh yes, the YouTubers. Yeah, they didn't like urinate in the neighborhood. Yeah, they got rides. Sue Ellen. Is that I don't watch a lot of these live streams that are in the neighborhood. Is that the neighbor that's like not happy with them? When I hear Sue Ellen, I think of Sue Ellen Ewing on Dallas, the lovely Linda Gray. Uh, who cleans that up? Did it happen on private property? I mean, I would think if it was cactus and rock, like, is it in the street or did they actually go onto somebody's property across the street? That's a crime. That's trespassing as well. That's vandalism. That's trespassing. And if there is a state law about you cannot desecrate or destroy cactus, that's another crime. So that's destroying the cacti, whatever that law is. That is trespassing. That's vandalism. There's at least 3 charges right there. VMIS says, yes, hoping our cameras caught something, but we know how dark it is out there. Exactly. I think it's showing it will change in June and then it will change at the 6th month. Oh, okay. You mean the color of the stars. Okay. Another person from Southern California. Welcome in, Rochelle. That's crazy. We have Rochelle D from Canada, and we have Rochelle Eskew from Southern California. Welcome in. There is a cam on Nancy's property that is pointed directly at that area now. It would be worth checking that camera. And Dawn reminds everybody to please be kind. Yes. Yeah, I haven't. I've heard about her, but I don't think I've ever seen her. The Miss Sue Ellen, but she's a nice lady. Did Juice use the porta potty? Well, who put a porta potty out there? Oh, it was the public road easement. Still, you can't do that. The discussion today is Nancy Guthrie, missing Nancy Guthrie. Public road easement. Okay. Is she a Karen, Rochelle? Yep, that's Sue Ellen. She's pulling people over and taking pictures of plates. Is she elderly or is she young? No problem, Rochelle. Welcome in, and I hope you're subscribed. If you want to catch up on this case, just watch the Nancy Guthrie playlist. That area may not even be HOA property. Yeah, I don't think the HOA can kick the people out, but that's sad if somebody came in and uh, committed multiple crimes last night. Oh, that's so funny. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, she's one of my biggest supporters, everybody. We try to help April keep her channel a safe place. Please be kind to everyone and show respect. Absolutely. No politics, no religion, no trolling. Now, if you want to throw her, Insults at me, I can take it. I am a PI of 42 years. It doesn't bother me. But, people get nasty to each other, then everybody gets taken out, no matter who's at fault. Because I'm just busy doing the show. I don't have time to moderate, you know, things that can go wrong within a chat. And it's happened a couple times where things went south really fast. Okay, back to this TMZ interview with Jennifer Coffendorfer. PI True Crime Investigates. Welcome in. The next comment, I'm not reading them all because, they have like 5 million subscribers, so they have thousands of comments. But if I were Annie or Tommaso, I would just do a news conference to clear up the rumors, hit it straight on. And they're not. Yeah, I'd probably hire a publicity person or an attorney. And I mean, even Luke and Mary Daly went and did an interview on the local news that the whole world has access to. Why didn't the sheriff clear Carlos and Luke? Says this commenter. Because money talks with Sheriff Nanos and Coffendorfer supports that approach. Oh, that's funny. Just up. Thank you, Rochelle. And Rochelle says to Rochelle, this is going to get complicated. Yep, 100% do it. I haven't seen the Kellys or the Karens lately, but I've definitely seen the Cathys. And we have a lot of Sues and Susans and Suzannes. And now we have Rochelle and Rochelle. Now we just need a Rachel. We'd like everyone to be welcome. Yes. We like to hear thoughts. Yes. But be careful of naming names. Yes. We generally make up nicknames. Yeah. Everybody here is innocent until proven guilty. And even if they get arrested, they're still not guilty. Just because someone gets detained or arrested doesn't mean that they did it. John says, please, no bashing anyone. KMG is a Katie. I didn't know that, KMG. PI True Crime Investigates. Are you a real PI like me? Cheryl Kushner. Oh, you changed your username from C. Kushner to Cheryl Kushner. Hi. Welcome in, Cheryl. That's cool that you put your actual name in there. That's cool because now we all know that you're Cheryl. Yes, Rochelle, A&T are making it harder on themselves by not talking. V Miss says, I'm a Lisa. I didn't know that, V Miss. Somebody says 1,000,000%. Her family had everything to do with her coming up missing. That's the opinion of somebody else. Yeah, I need the channel to grow. You guys don't understand. I've been, talking for 5 years and 5 months now on this channel. In the first 2 months that I covered the Nancy Guthrie case, the channel had not yet been remonetized. So I lost all the views and the potential super chats and, boy, it makes a huge difference now because there's so much equipment I need to buy. In fact, I was up at 4 a.m. going through Amazon and I need something that's called a monoscope that can go for shorter distances that I can attach to my iPhone. I would like someday to buy a telescope. Some of them are thousands of dollars. That's way off in the future. There's so many expenses. So thank you for everybody that's contributed. PI True Crime. Yes, I am. Well, welcome in. I'm from Kentucky, and I have been following the Guthrie case also in my spare time. Yeah, I'm a PI in California. Nice to see another PI. No other PIs have come in here, to my knowledge. How long have you been a PI, True Crime? I started in 84 with my training. I got licensed in 92. I started my business probably mid to late 90s. Yeah, like around the end of 95, I think. And then I worked 35 years full time until cancer knocked me down. I've still got my license 7 years later. And thanks to a private donation, remember, he's not in here now, but Sarop sent a private donation, which will cover the license renewal, which I have to take care of beginning of June in order to get it by August 31st. Yeah, California is that slow. Emerald Eye says, Annie reminds me of the Joan Baez song that says, who are so good with words and keeping things vague. Joan Baez song that says, you who are so good with words and at keeping things vague. That's interesting. I do not know that Joan Baez song. Dawn says, April, I have to say goodnight. Have to be at a mandatory company meeting in a few minutes via video. No problem, Dawn. But I will chat with you guys again soon. Love you and chat. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for your support. Rochelle, you need a fancy daily growth meter that looks like a thermometer beside your picture. I actually have a metric clock that's in my house that, that I can see. You've been one since 2013. Yeah, I'm old as dirt, true crime. And I am in Los Angeles, and I've handled about everything. But a lot of Hollywood entertainment related work. Um, yeah, I think Joan Baez, she might even be before my time because I'm pretty good with like classic rock and things like that, but I don't know a lot about Joan Baez. Um, I'll have to go listen to it now. Yeah. Yeah, Saraf is an angel. He has lifted the channel. He's carrying the channel on his shoulders. Uh, I mean, he came in today and just threw another couple of super chats to let me know that the super chat counter is. He wanted to know if it was still down on YouTube, and I was watching YouTube in the middle of the night. That's when I have time when I should be sleeping. I watch other YouTubers, and a lot of people were saying that the goal button was broken. Oh, you do have a real treasure there. Yes, I do. Uh, okay. PI True Crime says or PI2 True Crime Investigates. Can I talk today? I went out and got my criminal justice degree and decided to become a private investigator. I am as old as dirt. PI True Crime, believe it or not, even though I've been doing this most of my entire life, I too was pursuing a criminal justice degree. Uh, Moved back to California where I lived as a toddler. Out here, they call it, a lot of the schools call it AJ, Administration of Justice. Some of the 4-year schools, none of which are near me, call it criminal justice. But so criminal CJ degree, AJ degree, pursuing, had every intention of joining LAPD. I had very bad eyes back since I was in at least the second grade. I mean, like horrible eyesight, like 2400, and they stopped measuring. So without glasses was, doubly legally blind. I could not do any law enforcement whatsoever. In my 50s, just before my cancer diagnosis, I had multiple eye surgeries. I've since had 2 more. Now I only need the readers. But I ended up doing PI work instead and never planned to do it for very long. And, 42 years later, and stage 3, grade 3 cancer later, and heart troubles because of cancer treatment later, I'm still here. Jay says Joan Baez is 85 years old. Yeah, she would be old enough to be my mom. Like, I don't really know a lot about her. Welcome to the oldest dirt gang. Yeah, that's right, Kathy. We do have a lot of older viewers, according to my analytics. She's a folk singer from the 60s? Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Curtis. Uh, Hello, Miss April Davis. We all love you. Keep us informed. Thank you, Curtis. I love you guys back. Emerald Eyes. April, the name of the song is Diamonds and Rust. Allegedly, she wrote it after her relationship with Bob Dylan. Oh, wow. That's another name from the past. Uh, Let me go back to this interview. Like I said, I'm not a big proponent or fan of Jennifer Coffendorfer. She did I didn't even listen to the whole interview because I can't understand this Jackson, whatever his name is. Even though I'm very good with accents, maybe they should put his name printed across the screen. I've watched TMZ for how many years? I can't understand that guy's name. Um, let's see. See, some of the longer comments I can't see. They were never cleared. Annie Tomaso cannot be cleared at this point. Annie Tomaso will innocently move into Nancy's house and sell their own, which is inheriting without inheriting. They will simply be taking care of her property. Nothing to see here. And that's a comment on the TMZ interview with Jennifer. April, the enthusiasm for your channel is building. Can everyone feel it? I hope so, Maggie. Nanos took Jennifer out for a dinner meal. I don't know. I have no idea. Now, this person says the Cookie Sheriff first claimed that the family waited an hour to call authorities. That's what they said. And we all saw pictures of the blood at the house. That is why conspiracy theorists put the family into suspicion. It was days later that the sheriff corrected the timeline. If you want to blame anyone, blame the sheriff. Yes, the timeline has changed multiple times. And you know what? When talking about the timeline, and this is very important, how long did the family wait until they contacted Savannah? I would like to know that because it seems to me that she wasn't contacted right away. And if that's true, and I'm saying if that's true, that's a huge red flag. They should have been calling her in the car on the way over there. Have you heard from mom today? We just got a call that she didn't show up for church. Have you heard from mom today? We're on our way over right now. Not hours later. Uh, Jennifer's on every day and is also a guest on other channels. He should be at the top of the ladder for suspects. Jay says she thinks it was hours. I think it was hours too, from what I'm hearing. And that's a huge red flag. This person says, and these are not my comments. This is not my video. This is a TMZ video, which I can't show because I can't get in trouble for used content. It's the family. There was no kidnapping. They have been lying, and if you haven't noticed, no offense, you're slow and naive. That's what this person was saying to the chat. Do you know why cases go cold? Because the authorities overlook the actual suspects. And this case is going cold, 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 says that person. Jennifer is not objective in this point. That's a good comment. And there was a lot of thumbs up on that one. Many people think that. My issue is why didn't Annie and Tommaso call 911 on the way to Nancy's? I just said that. Then call Savannah and Cameron immediately after the 911 call. Exactly. Oh my God. And here's poor Savannah thinking that it could be related to her. And it could be related to her. And she feels so guilty about that, not knowing. Is it because of me? She said that to Cameron. Do you think it's because of me? As she's wiping her tears. What is it going to do to Savannah? If the 80% of the people that are following this case, if their suspicions of who the guilty parties are, wonder if 80% of the population that's following this is correct. Oh, I just knocked over my. Just knocked something over. I don't have an OnlyFans. Um, Jennifer said the difference would have been huge if only they took the saliva-soaked leaves of the plant he pulled and the doormat. Can't disagree with that one. Exactly. Exactly. Why didn't they? Oh. Not cold. It is way too soon for this case. Have stayed open for years. Yeah, it's too cold. I mean, it's too soon to say it's a cold case. There's still evidence that they are trying to get DNA off of, and there's still tips coming in. More love and compassion from April's wonderful chat team. I'm doing good, Barbara. How are you doing? God, am I really 81 minutes into this? It's hard to go off the air when 52 people are watching. If you guys weren't here in the beginning, our the best friend of the channel, Mr. Saraf Null, or Null, he did come in and dropped a couple of super chats just to see if the goal button was working. Apparently, the goal button on the YouTube live chats is not working. The chat's working. The super chat button is working. But if you see the goal at the bottom with the little target with the arrow in it, that button doesn't work. So, you could send 20 and it's not counting it, but it is, it is going into the account. Yes, there was a poll yesterday, Jay, that 80% of people think it is A&T. I'm not going to say who I think is involved. I think there's a group involved, and I think there's the yahoos that came to the house and did the crime, and I think there are the ringleaders or the ringmasters behind the scene. As I said from the very beginning, the queen bee and the worker bees. Absolutely. PI True Crime investigates. This case has a lot of red flags from the very beginning. Um, but everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Was it about 24 hours between front porch guy and Nancy not showing up for church? And who was supposed to take her to church, or was she supposed to be picked up? Actually, I don't know if she was going to drive herself or be picked up, but she no longer went to her local area church since the pandemic. She went to a friend's house somewhere close to where she lived, I believe, and they would watch a live stream church service from a church in Manhattan that Savannah is a member of. And Savannah was the one who got her mother into that church, and they do a live stream. And so she and her friends, they get together at various houses and watch the live stream together. So I don't know if she was supposed to drive or someone was supposed to drop her off or she takes an Uber. Um, because Sheriff Nanos has changed the timeline so many times, I don't know what time the woman who was hosting that live stream that day, I don't know what time she called Annie and said, "Your mom didn't show up." I don't know what time Annie and Tommaso got there, how long they were actually in the house before they dialed 911. And it seems like much, much later in the day, Savannah was brought into this. But that's all going to have to be cleared up when somebody's arrested and there's a trial. I want to know, I want an exact timeline, not one that's provided by YouTube, but one that's actually an official timeline. Uh, so I can't answer those questions, KMG. Thank you, Kathy. 58 people watching, 51 thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe. Please share the channel. I've got to get the subscriber count up. It's been 5 years and 5 months. I know we're gaining traction, but 3,000 subs in 5 years and 5 months, that's a failure. Okay. At least I'm remonetized. But, when the super chat income outweighs the income from the views, I haven't I haven't got it right yet. Uh, so no, we do not know what time she went to her friend's house on Sundays for church. Maggie says, "Gotta go, pizza time." Now I want pizza. Why did you say that, Maggie? Oh, I'll catch the replay. Keep up the good work, April. Hugs and well wishes. And thank you, Maggie. I'll be going to the box later this week. Okay, Rochelle says at one point I heard she Ubered to the friends for church regularly, but that cannot be. I don't know. Uh, there would have been a record of an attempted Uber pickup, I would think. It depends on if she was able to order one. I don't even know if, I mean, apparently she still drove. Um, exactly, Kathy. It's mind boggling because of the discrepancy of law enforcement. Christy, Harry, I would call my sister first. Like you said, on the way there, I could be calling her. Absolutely. It's about a 10-minute drive. I did have a party at 3K. That just happened a few days ago. But we can continue it here. Let me see where I'm at. Oh, I don't want to lose my screen on the TMZ thing, so I can't check that right now. Jennifer is not objective in this point. That says a commenter on the most recent TMZ interview with Jennifer. My issue is why didn't Annie and Tommaso call 911 on the way to Nancy's? Then call Savannah and Cameron immediately after the 911 call. I think I just read that, but I'm going to read it again. Was the kidnapping done the night before the church service? Well, we think so, based on the video evidence. Uh, Annie's husband has the power of attorney of Nancy's estate. I do not think that is true. He was the last known person to see her alive, too. That power of attorneys are public record, and I don't see a copy of it on the Pima County website. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I don't see a copy of that. The only power of attorney I see regarding Tommaso is that Tommaso actually gave his power of attorney to his wife on a second property that they own. Yeah, they have a second house. And they bought the house, the big house, on a school teacher's salary. Emerald, thinking about my own dad, it's a bit sus to me that they didn't have a routine of Nancy calling Annie in the mornings before she started her day. We don't know if they did or they didn't. Um, so I don't believe all the stuff I'm hearing about power of attorney between Tommaso and the mother. Just like I don't believe that Kayla Day is Nancy's grandniece and Savannah's cousin once removed. I don't believe that at all. Um, I have not seen any physical evidence. I have not seen a paper trail that proves that anybody had her power of attorney. In fact, she had her own trust where she was her own trustee as far as the house was concerned. Um, Now, who makes the decisions if something happens to her? I don't know because she was her own trustee. Uh, Nanos is simply in CYA mode. We use that term a lot in the PI business. CYA. That's Detective School 101. That's the first thing you learn is CYA. He is fully aware of the public sentiment towards him. He is going to say whatever he thinks people want to hear. The guy is dishonest, narcissistic, petty, likely corrupt, insecure, power-hungry little fellow. Ah, pretty much so. That's just that person's opinion. The next commenter says, so because Savannah says they had no involvement, it's true? Question, question. Exactly. And when people suggest that her family may have been involved, because most M's are committed by family members, they are conspiracy theorists? No, they're not conspiracy theorists. Uh, Investigators must have an open mind. Yes. All individuals close to Nancy must be thoroughly investigated. Yes. The family has been thoroughly investigated. We just don't know the results of the investigation. Not just brushed off by buffoons like Nanos, because, well, they suffered enough. Yeah, Yeah, these are good comments. How come I get the weird stuff? These are good comments on TMZ. Yeah, this kind of bothers me a bit. Will both A and T have been back to Nancy's house since and grabbing and taking boxes of files from Nancy's house? Well, we don't know what's in those files. They were using like file boxes, like I use in my storage facility for my business files, but we don't know that there were actual files in those boxes. CYA means cover your ASS, cover your rear end. And he owns mega property and expensive vehicles. I don't know. Um, why didn't this woman have a security system? Well, we don't know what systems she did or she didn't have, but it obviously wasn't much or enough. She lived in a remote area with no lights. Why didn't she have an alarm system? I don't know that she didn't, but I don't think that she did. Uh, no, upstate, I don't, but why don't you send me one? Okay. It's really sad you got to look at your family first in a case like this. Remember, before I was born and before I was a detective of 42 years, this exact scenario happened in my own family. And I can't say with who, but it was a kidnapping for ransom. The FBI was involved on day one, said it was someone in the family. The family said, no, we don't have that kind of family. And 15, 20 years later, a family member dies. They clean out that family member's home and find evidence linking that person to that kidnapping. Was that information ever turned into the authorities? Probably not. I guess the victim wanted to move on. But my parents had a horrible fear my entire childhood that I would be kidnapped. This does happen. My family is living proof. Now, the person in my family that it happened to was not an 84-year-old woman. That doesn't happen very often. I don't know of any case where that's happened. I mean, I'm sure there's got to be some cases somewhere, but most kidnappings involve kids. Okay, this is kind of that's a hard question to answer. Someone in this TMZ comment says, I don't understand why Savannah dropped out of the effort to find her own mom. I don't understand. I don't know that she has. We don't know that Savannah doesn't have, you know, a private security team and private investigators working this case. When family members end up arrested, I can't wait to watch the media people try to cope. Moving on up. Got to catch up later. Thank you. They had stopped the Ring subscription just before, I think, in December. I had not heard that, Rochelle. Hey, Martha Hale. Interesting information. Yeah. I hope that it's not the family, at the very least, just for Savannah's sake. And let me tell you, if they're not involved, everybody that's not just people that are saying it could be them, but people that are saying they did it, a lot of those people are probably going to get sued because supposedly A&T don't have any money. Okay, this is interesting comment on the TMZ video. It says the son-in-law's name wasn't there. Oh, you mean on the school roster? He's not listed as a faculty. Faculty, can I speak? The son-in-law's name wasn't there because he quit his job very suspiciously. Why don't you know that? They're not talking to me. They're talking to this Jennifer Coffendorfer. Oh, because she mentions that his uh, his name was no longer on the roster for the faculty at the school, and she doesn't know why it was taken off. And this person is saying to her, the son-in-law's name wasn't there because he quit his job very suspiciously. Why don't you know that, Jennifer Coffendorfer? We don't know why the name is not listed on the faculty, but I have had several Arizonians come in here, especially people that are Tucson residents that say that he had not worked the 25-26 school year. That's speculative, as Nanos would say. Oh, yeah, KMG, I agree. Savannah is tied to her job for sure. She has to be. Yeah, she's got a contract, as she does on the new game show that she had in place before this ever happened. In fact, she had already showed her mother the pilot episode. Um, Curtis shines. This case, things that make me go, yep. Kathy says she needs her job. It gives her a support system through her coworkers. Absolutely. Nancy should have had a lifeline, not just that watch pacemaker monitoring. I agree. We don't know that she didn't, but it certainly doesn't look like she did. KMG says that's a good point. If they're not involved, they probably are racked with guilt with all the should haves. I think Savannah, that would be her too. I think she feels guilt. And Savannah don't feel guilty. Uh, Annie Tomaso, I'm not so sure because we need to know more of what happened here before I can say how they should feel. Michelle, she had mobility issues. Yes, she did because Savannah confirmed that on most days she could not walk from the front door to the mailbox. That is true, Jewel. That is true. Her dog died in December. That's what I'm hearing. The dog would have changed everything. Maybe. I mean, it didn't look like a trained police dog, that's for sure. They should check the dog to see if it was poisoned. I don't know how the dog passed. She should have had all the security intact. Why was A&T having everything turned off? That's speculation. All that speculation. Uh, Here on TMZ, it says they definitely were involved. We all know the gatewalk. We all know who's guilty, and so does the family. Okay. Um, Now, this person on TMZ says you left out the big clue. Investigators kept Annie's car for months. Well, it was more like 5 or 6 weeks. Retired investigators said if their goal was to download the vehicle's computer's logs, they could have done that in a few days. True. The courts have sealed all the search warrants, so no one knows what they were looking for. I bet I know what they were looking for. Tell me at one time they did suspect Annie Guthrie and her husband Tommy. They also had a band member friend who was a convicted felon for breaking into homes. There has been posts on forums by someone claiming to know that the Guthrie family, and they said Annie and Savannah relationship wasn't good. Quite possible. Once again, speculative. The brother only said something maybe one time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but he's a military guy. They have to be stoic and keep quiet, especially if the FBI is telling the family to keep their mouth shut. Nanos wanted to be the hero. Kaz, so glad to meet you, April, and all of the warm welcomes here in your chat. And great. Be well and see you again soon. I hope to see you again soon, Kaz. My fellow Angelino. Uh, do you remember during that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial that TMZ was sus at best? I didn't watch that trial. I knew about it. In fact, somebody that I worked with, a very famous homicide detective, he actually was an expert witness in that trial. I was dealing with, health stuff. I didn't follow it. Rochelle, mobility issues mean high risk for falls and no lifeline is a real shame. That should be a mandatory program for independent living. Yeah, I kind of agree there. Spicy fruit. who is not one of my followers, this is a comment from TMZ, says, I've been saying this for weeks. Son-in-law kidnapped and accidentally unalive Nancy. It was all about the money, the end. Well, that's just speculation. Carla, I thought I had heard that, but I didn't want to say it. She says the dog died of cancer. Yeah, I know. I think Nancy had just had a birthday and the dog had just died too, from what I'm hearing. And people were saying at first that that was Annie's dog, and no, it was Nancy's dog, the black dog that she often posed in pictures with. Um, this person on TMZ says she never says anything about A&T. They're talking about Jennifer Coffendoffer, always defending them. Yeah, I don't even watch her channel because I'm not a fan of her. I'm just going to say I'm not a fan of hers. See, a lot of people somebody came into my chat like how dare I talk about her? I don't like her. I can't listen to this lady. She is so biased. She's acting like family's PR. Yes. She is acting like a family public relations person. Can't watch Jennifer anymore. Family gave up too quick, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, geez. Dave Taylor. Yes, I've heard the dog died of cancer, nothing suspect. That's what I've heard too. Um, the son-in-law and daughter know something. They've always suspected the family. They say it's usually someone you know. That's what happened in my family decades before I was born. It was immediate family. Is this lady really that smart? I shouldn't answer that. Uh, it's weird. They kept her car for 60 days. I don't think it was quite 60 days, but it was definitely more than 30. Someone needed money. I do think somebody needed money, but that doesn't mean that the people that needed money, well, the family that needed money possibly did the job. I'm not saying that at all. Money or revenge. Why was there so much suspicion on A&T? Keeping their car for 40 days plus is unheard of, according to profilers and detectives. That's actually a true statement. I know. Keeping their car for 40 days plus is unheard of, according to profilers and detectives. I'll answer. Most criminals are not too smart. True. That's how I've been able to make a living solving crimes. What kind of cancer? I'm not sure, but I do have. Her dog died in December of 2025. Nancy had knee surgery in January before her birthday. I didn't know about that. I know that Savannah had vocal cord surgery, I think, in January. Well, December or January. I believe one person was the ringleader. Probably that is why everything turned on crazy. Technically, they can't rule anyone out when they don't truly know what happened. That sheriff is just a nitwit. Yeah, I think so. I just don't think that jurisdiction, they're used to handling these types of crimes, just like the same thing that happened in Boulder with JonBenet. Yeah, I'm a detective, and I have to agree with this one. This commenter on this TMZ video said, hello, did you all notice Annie's facial expressions and body posture from the start of this huge debacle? Annie's face was a picture of guilt. Annie Tommaso from day one, especially when they came out in that car with their hoodies over their heads and their faces covering, that's deception, deceit, and shame. Now, that doesn't mean that they had anything to do with it, but deception, deceit, and shame. Um, Michelle, they took the car apart and could not put it back together. They were dependent on the car manufacturer to do it. I have heard that the car had to be sent somewhere to be put back together. So they stripped that car down to bare metal. The family didn't attend the vigil, didn't hand out flyers, didn't participate in any searches, didn't organize any searches. And in true Chris Watts form, they asked Nancy to come home as if she could. They hid their faces and dipped down in their car. They have hid publicly, and it is very improbable that Kalelo, oh, I think they mean Kalala, Derek Kalala, just happened to have or come upon Tommaso's cell phone number. Well, and Annie's too. The language used by Kalelo in the text to Tommaso was familiar, not that of a stranger. Very good point. He said, "Did you get the Bitcoin? We're still waiting on our end." That's so unusual. Why would Kalelo ever think that Tommaso would be the one to get the Bitcoin? Some of the actions of the family also seem to show a profound lack of caring. Why would a woman who could supposedly barely walk be made to get a Uber ride to visit her children? Then it says, read more. Why wasn't she assisted back into her home that night? Why was she taken home so late at night when she had to be up early the next day for church? If the family is a suspect in the eyes of many people, there's so many reasons why. Um, Rochelle says, I think it was a group and there was a leader of this group. It is possibly they worked together on other crimes. Sheriff kept A&T's car for 41 days, says Carla. That's pretty, I think that's pretty spot on. It wasn't 60, I do know that. So Nancy was recovering from knee surgery. Doesn't that take weeks? Knee surgery is like really a hard one to recover from. Libby sounds like a total psyop and completely staged and faked. Isn't he the guy the FBI picked up in Cali? Yeah, in Hawthorne. Derek Kalala, also known as Derek Kayea. And I think his trial's coming up in June. And speaking of trials, there's a trial coming up in August in Tucson for the charges, the drug charges for Luke Daly. Even though Luke Daly went on national television and said, that, you know, all that drug stuff was, at least a couple of years in the past. He got an arrest for it. Doesn't mean he's guilty, but he did get arrested less than a year before this crime occurred. Um, Maybe he meant he was sober for 2 years. I don't know. Tealwater, what's going on? We're talking about Nancy Guthrie. Yes, it was an online church service, John. The elderly go to bed with the chickens, especially with cardiac issues. It was so late for her to be going home. Yeah, I don't know what the routine was. Let me go back to these comments. The sheriff is horrible. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's a comment on the TMZ interview with Jennifer Coffendorfer. I totally believe A&T are 100% responsible, all about the money. Says that commenter, no, they weren't her caregivers. I don't think so. They were the ones who wanted her money because they didn't get it. They decided to get rid of her. I've heard these rumors that someone from the church privately told, I think, one of the boots on the ground, and I can't confirm any of this, that somebody that knew her from church privately told someone. Of course, when you tell a secret, you just tell it to one person, it no longer is a secret anymore, that Annie had recently asked for money and was told no. I don't know if that's true. There's no way we're going to be able to ever prove that unless Nancy can come back from beyond the grave and tell us that. But that person could be brought in as a witness if there ever is a trial. I can't rule out psyop. These days, people don't even know when a relative is CIA most of the time. Emerald Eyes, it is said that one of her regular times to take meds was 10 p.m. Yes, and it's also being said that all the drugs were laid out on the kitchen counter, all the bottles. Somebody being in the house who was there to allegedly kidnap her for ransom would have had time, especially since they found the house with all the lights on inside. They would have seen the pill bottles on the kitchen counter. And apparently, maybe she had one of those little, you know, pill packets that has the days and the morning pills and the evening pills, because there's rumors that she didn't take the 10 p.m. pills. That's something I cannot prove or disprove. But if she didn't take the 10 p.m. pills, that's another huge red flag. I can't remember when I heard that Nancy had any surgery, but I think it was from one of the YouTubers or somebody. Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I have not heard it. I'm not saying that it's not true. I just can't confirm that. This commenter says, I still believe that T was the mastermind. His motive was money. A&T's house was headed for foreclosure. T was 250K in debt. Can't prove any of that. From what I've read, I think A was drawn into the plan at the last minute. Um, Guthrie still supporting the narcissistic sheriff smells to high heaven. Politics over mom. Doesn't she know T is not working at the school anymore, nor was he working at all? Strange if he's so innocent. I've heard that his band was no longer active. Does anybody know? Early Dark. Were they still playing gigs? When was the last time they played a gig? Yeah, I haven't heard about any knee surgery. I heard about Savannah surgery. Another person. I mean, almost every comment is leaning in that direction. I felt A&T had been involved all along. I really do pray that I am wrong, but the evidence seems to be stacking up. But hey, maybe I'm just another armchair sleuthing. I just want Nancy to be located, rescued, and still alive. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Um, yeah, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's thousands of comments there. There's not enough time in the day to go through them all. Um, 54 people watching and 53 thumbs up. What? How can that be? Last gig, summer of 95? That'd be 31 years ago. That can't be. Carla, I have been here at the same time for quite some time. The A&T has for a loan of some money, in my opinion. Oh, that they asked for a loan? I've heard that too. And supposedly that has leaked from one of her friends from the church, but I can't confirm that to be true. I don't understand that question, Carla. Do we know if any into muscle goes to church? I don't know. I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. Yeah. Remember, I'll say it again. Everyone on my channel is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And I have never publicly named a suspect. I have my suspect video, and that's not people that I say are suspects in this order. It's just the suspects that have come up in the media during this case. Oh, 2025. Okay. I was like, what? Okay. So they haven't had a gig since 2025. Do we know when in 2025? So was he not working all of 2025, 2026 at the school? And his last music gig was sometime in 2025? I mean, how are they paying the mortgage? And I find it a little strange that if they could afford that expensive house and, he's a school teacher and the school's not exactly, I don't know if it's close to where they live or not, but like most married couples, especially a couple that has a child, because children have to be taxied around, most married couples will have two cars. And they had one car that was an older model. I believe it was reported as a Honda Pilot, possibly a 2015 model. So they have an 11-year-old car. Did they recently sell a car? If there's no body, there's no if there's no body, there's no inheritance. It takes 7 years for a person to be declared passed. It depends. It really depends. Watch that case, missing in Alaska. Goes back to 1971 or 72. It still hasn't been solved. Um, they disappeared. Four very prominent people disappeared. Well, two of the people were prominent. One was assistant and one was a pilot, but he was even a well-known pilot. Four people disappeared in Alaska, and it's a huge case. Even to this day, it's a huge case. And that family still is very prominent and political in Alaska. And they disappeared in October and they were declared deceased by the end of December with no bodies, no wreckage, no nothing. So that's not always true that it takes 7 years. You know, I heard this, Dave. Annie has closed her Etsy shop, I heard. Don't know if it was before or after the kidnapping. I heard that she had an Etsy shop, but I couldn't find an active Etsy shop for her. The band stopped producing in 2016, Early Black. And is it true that Dominic may have lived in a house that was owned by Annie and Tommaso? And I'm not sure why. There's a fairly recent document that Tommaso turned over his power of attorney to Annie on that house. Oh, that's weird. I don't know. There's just I have a lot of questions here. Well, I've got so many people in the room. It's so hard to go off the air when I have this many people in the room, but um my throat is getting tired. um do A&T go to church? I don't know. I have no clue. The number one thing I'd like to know about this case is I want the official timeline instead of these multiple versions that have been given by the police. And remember, at some point, I never heard it, but other viewers were saying they heard Sheriff Nanos talking about first coming to the house on January 31st. Like, what? She wasn't even reported missing until February 1st. How could they have reports dating back to January 31st? Like, what the heck is that about? Dark music, just looked it up. Wow, there is newer music if it's the same band. Christy, look up The Secret Mutilator, Mr. Derek Kiella. In fact, you know what? Why don't you just watch my suspect video? Better do that. Watch the suspect video under my video tab. Make sure you read the comments because there's a correction on that video regarding a date. What happened exactly? Well, we wish we knew. And you know what? Today is Tuesday. It's not a holiday anymore. So the FBI, they should have my letter sitting on their desk today. I don't know if it'll help. I don't know if the right person will see it or read it. God, I've got my notifications turned off while I'm filming this. Maybe they're trying to call me right now. And I get so many spam calls a day. I guess I should check if I've missed any calls from an Arizona area code. Barbara, A&T have so many red flags. Yes, but Doesn't mean that they're guilty. Probably why they asked for the loan. We don't know that they did or they didn't. Everything is speculative, as Sheriff Nanos likes to say. Yes, go back and watch it again. And I'm glad I did. I watched it again a few nights ago, and I'm like, oh, I have to make a change in here because it was originally reported that Luke Daly purchased the Range Rover in question on February 2nd, and it's since been verified. Well, sort of verified by Z-Man. We already talked about his interview, that it was on February the 7th, and that it was his mother that paid for the vehicle in full with a cashier's check. I'm a grown-up person. I've never had my parents pay for a vehicle. Even my first car, I had to pay for most of it. Now, my sibling never paid for anything. One of us is successful, and one of us, not so much. Some siblings in certain households are treated differently. Did that happen in the Guthrie household? Don't know. But the stuff about the allegations, and they're only allegations, about the Wiccans and the witchcraft and the Wiccan holiday, that stuff just, I hope none of it's true because it's very disturbing. That is super disturbing. Could Nancy be close by at a friend's house? I doubt it, David asked. Did they check the wrecked car for anything that may be useful in the case? I don't know. I've heard that car was towed by the insurance company. The timing of that whole thing is, I'd like to know more about it. Let's just put it that way. It is creepy bad, isn't it? Well, she says bad creepy. I said creepy bad, but you know what I mean. I just, even as a detective, and I think I've seen it all. Remember, look at my true crime videos. I think I should do a separate, maybe I'll do a playlist on her tonight. I just don't know what to title the playlist. I have about 4 videos that are definitely true crime. It's a case here in Los Angeles. In fact, you see the Hollywood sign behind my head? The case is in the Hollywood Hills, right up underneath the Hollywood sign. There's the girl in the sewer case. I get very emotional about it. I was actually invited to her funeral. I didn't know her. In fact, when I went to the funeral, the public didn't even know yet that the person in the sewer was a female. Um, See the girl in the sewer case. I'll put a playlist of that together tonight. It's in my true crime. Mercy Melissa Martinez, the girl in the sewer. I've seen things. I saw a picture that got leaked online about that case. Should have never happened. I never could get the picture out of my mind. It drew me to that scene, and I went to the scene. And right around the time that I lost my best friend, the week that I lost one of my best friends, my phone started blowing up. My video started blowing up. Not like in views, but comments and people trying to reach me regarding that case. And the victim's best friend and family reached out to me, and I was asked to go to the funeral. And, I had a lot on my plate at that moment because I was still trying to recover from cancer. It was before I was diagnosed with my heart problem, and then my bestie had died. And, it was like the worst possible time of my life to have to go over to Hollywood forever and, attend this girl's funeral. It's all in the videos. And I didn't even work that case. Now I have been in contact with the LAPD detective. Him and I personally know each other now because of that case. I'm not working that case in any way. I was able to gather some pertinent information at the funeral. Um, Nobody's ever been arrested for that case. It's probably never going to be solved. It's gone stone cold. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. And then this thing happened, and this whole Wiccan witchcraft crap showed up in this case. Like, oh my god! If any of that is true, then there are some big problems with this case. Uh, you mean like Sylvia Brown? What about Sylvia Brown? Let's see. Has anyone thought about using a police psychic to find Nancy? Well, we don't know that they haven't. Now, Sylvia Brown, she's deceased, but I understand what you're saying. Like someone like Sylvia Brown. That was posted up on the main website for Pima County. Look it up. Says January 31st at 6 p.m. I've heard that too, Carla. I mean, what is going on here? Thank you, John. Please hit the like button. Wow, 58 people in the chat, 58 thumbs up. I'm sure, though, during the video, there's been hundreds of people, maybe even thousands. Yesterday, I got off and it was almost 5,000 people, and I was like, oh my God. Eric, that's everywhere, but we're not going to talk about that. We are not allowed to talk about things like that on this channel. That's not a Hollywood problem. That's a everywhere problem. No demand letter or ransom of any kind? Well, yeah, there were tons of ransom letters, but they weren't left at the scene of the crime or sent to the family. Not Sylvia Brown, please. Fake, fake, fake. Yeah. Kathy Maury, so sorry you had to see that, April. You are steadfast to your PI work, yet you have such a sweetheart. It was really hard. If there's a video where I go to the scene, and I have to be very careful with what I show. And it was one of the creepiest videos I ever filmed. It's like I could feel that person, and I did think from the beginning that it was a female, although that wasn't released until way, way afterwards that it was a female. But based on the picture that I saw, I there wasn't much left to see, but by the length of the hair, I thought it was a female, and it was. She has 2 baby boys. They don't have a mother anymore. Oh, you mean Teresa Caputo. What about the Long Island medium? I think her name is Nancy. Yeah, it's Teresa Caputo. Wouldn't hurt at this point. Did anyone think to investigate the insurance company? I sure hope they have. Considering that, besides my entertainment gigs, a lot of my cases, I shouldn't say most, but thousands of my cases are insurance related, including life insurance. Everything needs to be looked at. Everything. This is going to be a very long trial if somebody gets busted for this. And I'm not convinced that the worker bees in this case have since been offed. I'm not convinced of that at all. And I think this was somebody very close to home. Teresa Caputo is ditzy. She's an entertainer. Even when you see newscasters and you see, Nancy, who I don't mean Nancy Guthrie, but Nancy Grace, such a love muffin. That yelling and freaking out on TV, it's all for show. It's all about entertainment. It's all about ratings. Solely an entertainer. That's how she makes her living. Now, me, I'm not a professional YouTuber. I just got monetized, but I'm still thousands of dollars in the red. I haven't made a penny. I'm still in the red. I'm not an entertainer. I am a detective, a successful one, a mostly retired one, and I'm just about the facts. You'll never see clickbait here. And if I have a correction, I'll put it up. Like in my suspect video, I pinned a comment a couple nights ago about there's a change of the dates that allegedly Luke bought the car, um, per the Z-Man interview. And no, I didn't investigate or interview Z-Man. That was on another channel. And that's all we're going to say about that. Nancy Grace on her program and in her home, a different person. Completely different. Yeah, I love me some Nancy Grace. She really is. She's a terrific person in person. Um, I felt that way too, Barbara, at first. I still feel strongly about seeing water, and that is related to Nancy's whereabouts. I felt that way at the beginning, and then because I thought, who could dig a hole in that hard desert? But then I watched another YouTuber who is an alleged reformed criminal inmate for, I guess, for a very long time. And he said it's very hard to dispose of a body in water. Hey, Kelly, we're almost done. An hour and 31 minutes into this. I hope you're feeling good, Kelly. David says, I think that Nancy may still be alive because if a body is not buried, it is found by odor or dogs or just kids playing nearby. Depends. Depends on where it is. Remember, there have been no search and rescue efforts on the ground. Kelly says still sticking with sand. Yeah, the FBI agent I consulted with, who's not working this case and only followed it for the first month, says that she's 6 feet under in the desert. But we will see. We may never know. In fact, the FBI agent told me there's more of a chance of arresting somebody, which he thinks will happen. And I'd like to be optimistic and think that will happen. But there's a lot less of a chance that they'll ever actually have any remains. And that's as much as I'm going to say about that. And I hope that's not true. Let's bring Nancy home. Let's keep this case relevant. Hashtag justice for Nancy. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please share the channel. Remember, it does take the chat a day or two to upload. You can see the video as soon as I go off the air, but it will take a day or two if you're watching on the replay for the chat and the super thanks button to upload. And speaking of super thanks, Kelly Ray, you are the only member, not member, but subscriber. You are the only subscriber to my channel who has ever hit the super thanks button during a replay. And I will always be thankful for you for that. You are gaining on it, April. The only YouTubers aren't about honesty. That is why you will always have a smaller channel. That is why your channel will be successful. I look at you at about 50K. Oh, gosh. Uh, maybe I can get that telescope if that ever happens. I mean, I can't be too big because I am a disabled person. So, I have to limit my income. But I'm nowhere near going over the limit. And I've got 5 years and 5 months worth of expenses. But there's so much equipment I need to pay for that I need to pay myself back for before I can go out and buy the next equipment. And there's so much expenses. You have no idea. And I never knew that because I said, well, I just want to start a YouTube channel to document my life since channel and I don't need to be monetized and I'm not going to spend any money. But now that I'm doing it, it costs a lot of money to do all this. This has not been a cheap venture. Now, if I still had my six-figure PI business and I was doing this would be no problem at all. And I probably would have been able to do a niche channel from the very start, and I would have had more professional gear. I mean, my first videos are hideous, but you got to start somewhere. Oh, I've got so much that I need to purchase for the channel. None of this has gone towards me. Now, the people that have been accessing the YouTube wish list, that actually goes uh, to help me out. And that just says that's meant the world to me. And it's not necessary. What does one of those mono things cost? Not very much. I was looking into it before. First, I was looking into the telescopes, and then I realized, like, well, that's not going to happen because if you buy the cheap ones, those are like a kid's toy, and then you won't be able to see anything, especially in Los Angeles where we can't really see the stars. We have plenty of stars, like Hollywood stars, but you have to have the right time of the year and the right lighting. But we do have really good moon rises here. But I got buildings and neighborhoods surrounding me. But I would like to have a telescope. I would like to have the monoscope just to see my hummingbirds more closely when they start coming back. I've had a few lately, but not too many. Uh, I have not as much as a full telescope. The one that I can just attach to my cell phone, that'll help me because I need something. When I go out on my next coyote hunt, I'm going to need some type of a longer lens. Um, is there a GoFundMe reward money setup? Uh, GoFundMe by who? My daughter is a Kathy too. Katie. And Kelly, I haven't seen the Kellys lately. And believe it or not, Kelly, we have our new friend from Canada, Rochelle D. But we actually have a Rochelle now too. And an Angelino came in today. No, there's a lot of issues, KMG. You have to really want to do it. But if you want to, go for it. Is there a GoFundMe my reward money set up? You mean by the Guthrie family? Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. So sad people are dropping off, many people getting bored with no progress. Oh, yeah, you mean the people following the case? That's true. A lot of people have dropped out of this. The FBI agent I consulted with said that he followed it for the first month and he didn't even know anybody who was in the Guthrie family. Like, I mean, he knows of the case. I have a GoFundMe, but that's my cancer GoFundMe, and it's still going because, believe it or not, Kelly, and you know what I've been through because you've been a friend for years. There are some people out there that think that my cancer and my subsequent heart ailment due to my cancer treatment that it's fake. So that GoFundMe is still up. It's in the links. Um, Sometimes simple greed boils to crime. Yes. Are these detectives actively still working? Haven't heard anything much. The FBI guy told me he thinks there's probably about 50 agents on it now, but Pima County, don't know. There's turtle doves that have lived here since I moved in, and my cat has just started to figure that out. There's sometimes they wander. They're from the back of the building, but sometimes they come up to the front, and I can hear them right now. And we have a lot of hawks here too that sometimes come right onto the property. That's when I would love to grab the mono lens for the phone and show you the actual Cooper's hawks that we have. It's just incredible the wildlife here. Um, yeah, I would not set up a GoFundMe regarding the Nancy Guthrie case. Yes, they do, Kelly, or she. Is your cat doing that weird sound? I was thinking of all my cats, yes, but not as much as my mixed Maine Coons, who do what's called twilling, but they're now no longer with me. And, Kelly, you weren't here earlier. So Rolf, oh my god, he came in yesterday and did a big channel donation, and, he came in briefly at the beginning of this chat to let everybody know that the goal button is not working on YouTube right now. It doesn't mean that people can't contribute, it just means that the counter doesn't work right now. They've had that problem since late last night, I believe. Any idea anyone who would do this, even a guess? I can't publicly state that, David, but I do have a suspect video, but that's just, the suspects that have showed up in the media. I could do a GoFundMe for true crime under my name. No, I would not do that. No. I just have my cancer GoFundMe and I have my links in the channel. Really expensive to start up. You almost need to have all equipment purchased before you start. Equipment is very expensive. Got to start somewhere. Who knows? The whole porch gang is probably out of the country. Tommaso's buddies. It's a group. That's all I'm going to tell you. I don't believe in the lone wolf theory. If this comes out that it's the lone wolf theory, I will say that they've botched this case and that's not even true. Because who knows how quickly the first domino will fall and that domino will knock the other dominoes down with them. Yeah, I think so, Kelly. She says it's a group for sure. There's just too much evidence without going into details that it's a single perpetrator. You've tried to email you. I've tried to email you and it comes back. My email is aprildavispi@gmail.com. It's on the channel page. I'm getting lots of emails from people. Yes, indeed, there are 3 at least. Very possible, Barbara. Sometimes the one who is responsible pretends to help and is staying close in touch. Absolutely. It's like the arsonist that always returns to the scene of the fire. It has to be, everything is so orchestrated, yes. Almost tapped the wrong name. Yeah, that bullseye icon, that's why Seraph came in today, actually, Kelly, because I guess he watches, other YouTube channels as well, like I was watching last night, and I was watching some vertical lives in the middle of the night, and all the YouTubers were saying that the bullseye button is not working. Like, so if I set a goal, which I had set a goal when I started this, 2.5 hours ago, that the goal button wasn't working. So he started sending, he sent like, I think 2 supers today, and then there was one that came in, at least one that came in from someone else. I'll have to go back through the chat later and check, but, yeah, the counter just wasn't working. Um, Barbara, good question. And I am gonna I just I hesitate to make a playlist with what can I use as a title for the girl in the sewer case. I really want you guys to see that. That is just that's a tough one for me to talk about here. I meant the one from Emerald Eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you had at least 2 more. 2 more what? Oh, you mean 2 more super chats? Yeah, somebody came in that I didn't even know. Oh, Quentin came in. We know him. Quentin sent a super chat, and let's see. Saraf sent 2. I'm trying to see if I can see this on the desktop. Quentin. Yeah, he's an often contributor. Oh yeah, Kaz, our new friend from LA, came in. That was so cool to have somebody in Angelino. And Roger, yes, Roger. Oh, I can't forget Roger, Jay's husband. Yeah, so we must have had 5. See, that's why we need the counter. And the counter's not working. Yes, Roger. Let me keep scrolling. but the counter button wasn't working. Yes, Roger Forever 777 sent $2. Beth, hello. Yeah, so we had 5. But Sarop, he was just sending test chats because he wanted to see if the counter was working. And it's not. But it's not an April Davis PI issue, it's a YouTube issue. Hopefully they'll get it worked out. Remember, they have 150 million or so users on here, maybe more. There was a dollar one too? Let me go back. Let's see. I'm going backwards and it's not showing them. Yeah, I can't scroll that far back right now. It's not allowing me to scroll backwards again. David Thompson, what was her favorite food? Maybe you could contact local grocery stores or places where it is sold and find Nancy that way. I think she was no longer with us very soon after she was removed from her property. Yeah, I'll be able to look it up later on the back end, Kathy. Let me go over to analytics. Probably too early for the analytics to pop up since the video's still live. Let me look at the channel dashboard. Yeah, we've hardly gained any subscribers during this. Gosh, I've been on for almost 3 hours. It's at 3065. We were at 3062. Did I really only gain 3 subscribers through all of this? That's not good, actually. A lot of people subscribe like during the lives. Uh, yeah, okay. 2 by Saraf in Israeli shekels, $2 from Quentin Broom, $2 from our new friend Kaz, and $2 for or from Roger Forever. That was it. Did any hardware store sell a shovel to a stranger? That's a good question, David. Sometimes I wonder if someone had a vendetta against Savannah. Remember, day one, I was like, oh my God, the mother of Savannah Guthrie. Oh my God. I call it the Savannah factor. Me being a Hollywood PI, that's the first place my mind went. And I still can't rule that out. Yes, I'm almost positive she's not with us anymore. Imagine trying to keep up with a woman that age that has so many medical needs, that probably has lots of medical issues, poor ambulation. Yeah, no hearing aids. How could she even listen to her captors without her hearing aids that were left on her nightstand, supposedly? I've heard someone says, Barbara says, did Nancy have any caregivers, male or females? Did she have a cleaning lady? I've heard that she did have a cleaning lady, and according to Savannah, her caregivers were Annie and Tommaso. Did anyone ever see Nancy and Tommaso's car? You mean on the ride home? Not that we know of, but we don't know what type of video evidence they may have. They do have video evidence from the Uber driver, who was apparently a female, who picked her up. But remember, they apparently had sold some vehicles. They only had one. They were down to one car, and so they sent for an Uber to pick her up that night. Yes, on the ride home or prior to. Yeah, we don't know. She wasn't a member of a religious organization. She was just at the. She was supposed to go to the home of a friend where they were going to watch the live stream from Manhattan. She didn't actually physically go to the church anymore. She had changed churches and was going to Savannah's church in Manhattan, but via the internet. Her and a bunch of her friends. Yeah, let's just pray for Nancy. Let's bring her home one way or the other. And if my letter should be at the FBI now as of today. Hopefully somebody's going to open it. And I don't even know if I'm right about front porch guy, but I think that the person that I felt could be front porch guy, even if that person isn't front porch guy, I think that person could still be involved somehow in all this. Um, I think the FBI knows more than what they're saying. I hope that they do. I hope they already have a suspect in mind and they're just waiting for more DNA. I hope this whole case doesn't hedge on just one little piece of rootless hair, because if that's where we're at right now, then this case is in serious trouble. But everybody say a prayer for Nancy. Hashtag justice for Nancy. And Savannah, I know you're probably not watching, but we love you. Pizza was the bomb. Okay, and I'm going to go and I'm going to eat something, Maggie. Thank you for coming, everybody. Make sure you share this video. Remember, if you're watching on the replay, it takes a day or two for the chat to upload. If you don't see that super things tab, that means it didn't upload yet. So don't yell at me when you're saying, I'm here and you're not acknowledging me and you're skipping me. No, I'm not. I'm not live 24 hours a day. I'm just live right now and I'm getting ready to go off the air. But thank you for watching the replays. Good night, Barbara. Good night, Quentin. Good night, everyone.